At 5:17, going to open the Oroville Parks Commission public meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Castro?
Here.
Commissioner Krantz?
Here.
Commissioner Khan? Commissioner O'Reilly?
Here. Commissioner Krantz, can you lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
I would be happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I see nobody in the audience for public communications. Do we have any other public communications?
Mr. Chairperson, I did receive one email from Beth Bello that I forwarded to each of you before the meeting.
And I did read that. Thank you.
I didn't have any email access.
Oh,
I read
you can.
line out of order.
The summary of it was just thanking the commission for their effort in supporting pickleball and the Hewitt Park.
Do we have a update tonight? Okay. Item number 2, approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? And for correction, we have, or for information, we have made a slight amendment to item number 6. So a motion would need to be with the amendments. I make a motion that we approve the minutes with the amendments.
Sorry. Second? Second? You're waiting.
Jackie, do you want us to note what the amendments are?
Noted
For the
that
record.
the amendments were changing the organization to Friends of the Parks funded the renovations at the lot home.
From the August 10th regular agenda meeting minutes?
Okay.
Mr. Chairperson, do we have to approve the August 31 minutes, or did we just do that, both of them?
We're doing both of them, my understanding is, at the same time.
Thank you.
How would you like to vote, Commissioner Castro?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading.
Motion carries with 3 yeses and 0 nos.
Item number 3, adopt a park program.
So Adopt a Park program is back in front of you, request of this commission. It was approved by this commission on February 2020 and approved by the City Council in April 2020. This program is designed for service clubs and organizations to select a park of their choosing to adopt for events, cleanups, projects, events, anything to get more exposure for that area. So what we'd like today is just a discussion with this body for promotion of a park that they are then going to go out and seek a nonprofit to then adopt this park. It's not necessarily a commissioner adopting each park. It's them promoting the park and kind of being a liaison advocate for that park, and then finding the right fit to of an organization to adopt the park. So we are looking at the parks right now, and we're going to do a big push come January to get these adopted, because right now we know they're closed from November to March. So in January, we would like to do a big push, saying that we're looking for organizations to adopt them, and some events that have been held there in the past, and just get really people interested and excited about our parks again.
So my question is there a reason Sank Park isn't on this list?
I believe it's,
You see a list?
The desired park to adopt on
yeah,
the
page
form?
9.
Very
There's
good.
the list.
Because I was going to ask how many parks there actually are under us, under the Park Commission purview.
There are the 5: Bedrock Park, Rotary Park, Hewitt Park, Centennial Plaza, and Hammond Park.
Oh, So Sank Park is not included?
Sank Park is a museum that has a park contained within it, or around it, or on it, however we want to look at that one. And so when this was brought forward to the Parks Commission, Sank Park was not included at that time.
Now, what about the one right here in Wallace Park and the smaller?
So those are more pocket parks. They aren't rentable parks. These are
Okay.
more rentable parks. Even though Hewitt Park is not, it will be in the future. And so I wasn't here when this program was brought forward, but that's my understanding of the program, as these were the first 5 parks to be initiated into it.
Okay. Commissioner Castro?
What can we do to get Sank Park included on this list?
It can just be amended. The Adopt a Park program can be amended to include Sank Park.
Absolutely.
Well, my suggestion would be first that we figure out how we're going to get the museums under our purview, being that that park is a museum, because the museums aren't even under our purview at this moment, is my understanding. But I was going to bring that up later. How would we put Sank Park in here if it's not under our purview? How would that work?
So this is a discussion item today. It's more of a, this was brought forward back when we still had 5 park commissioners.
Right.
So each park commissioner was going to say, I'll choose to promote this park.
Absolutely.
Nothing official, just kind of take it on. Now we have 3 park commissioners. So, and Michelle, we're hoping that she'll return or Commissioner Khan, we hope to have her return in February, but we're still awaiting her response there. For this to add another park, we would just agendize this for February, amend it and add it then, and then take the final recommendation to council, and it'd be approved at that time.
Okay. So, Commissioner Krantz?
So I'm glad you said that. If I, as a commissioner, already have an interested group, would that have to happen before they could submit paperwork? The only reason I asked was because I was waiting until we had this meeting to get a couple of things clarified. Should that group wait until that happens
No,
in
they can
February?
still
Or they
submit
can-
paperwork.
Okay, great.
This is a fluid program. It's still
Great.
somewhat of a pilot program. So
Okay.
we're working out the kinks, so to speak. We can add and amend to this program as necessary.
Absolutely.
good.
You can just have them write in Sank Park on their application, and then we can move forward with how to get that added.
Okay, great.
So I do have a couple of questions about this myself. So a commissioner will be the liaison for the park. And then what is the process then? Can you walk us through the process of when an interested organization shows interest and the steps for that?
It's all here within the Adopt a Park agreement and application. So it basically walks you through the steps. So there's,
Yeah, it has a breakdown of expectations from the party that's interested in adopting a park. So it has expectations for that. Then it also has cleanup planning page. So that's days that they can possibly plan a cleanup, add the tasks that they're interested in doing, and then try to get the organization behind cleaning up on those days.
I think, not to interrupt you, but I understand all the
Okay.
the
paperwork.
papers in here. My question, I think, is more along the lines of at the city level. Like when they come in and express interest, how are the steps working? How do we know that somebody has expressed interest? What exactly do they have to wait for? That sort of thing, I guess.
So this is brand new. So we're going to learn together. But right now we have interest in Bedrock from the Exchange Club. So that's the only application that we've received. How I envision it, correct me if anyone, Dawn, if I'm wrong, we would receive an application when we bring it to this body.
Okay.
Right.
So it's something that you guys would see before it's accepted. And then I believe it would also need to go to council as well. So it would come to this body first, saying Exchange Club, as an example, is interested in Bedrock Park, the adoption. We would provide their packet to this body showing the cleanup days they're interested in, events they're interested in, any programs, anything like that they're interested in, then this body would decide if they want to move forward with that application.
Okay,
Once approved here or not approved here, then it would move to council. And then moving forward with following up on those dates would definitely be an in-house thing that we would need to follow up with that organization. So use the contact on the application to then follow up to make sure those days are happening and get our Parks Commission and Parks Department involved as well with certain days that those have been scheduled so that they're aware.
okay,
And the Parks Department would also monitor the progress that Adopt a Park group was making and work with them as necessary.
okay. So, without sounding, I feel like I have to walk on eggshells just because of a lot of things happening lately and such. Without sounding negative about it, it absolutely is not meant in any negative light. What would be the purpose of this having to go in front of council for this park, Adopt a Park, for an organization to get it?
It's just a formality.
Okay. Commissioner Castro?
Mike's.
I can't get all this stuff together tonight. We have been pretty involved at Bedrock Park already and have identified several issues that are there. And we're probably down there once a week. I'm not having, do you want me to have them fill this out once a week? And we also walk along the levee and we end up at Bedrock and.
You don't have to fill it out. Go ahead, Jordan.
Sorry, I think this was built for like a one-time, we're interested in this park, these are the things we would love to do overall.
Okay.
I think there are places in here for you to be like date specific of like cleanup days. If you were to put in there a cleanup day every 2 months, we're not gonna say,
Okay.
yeah, so I would keep it more general. And no, definitely not. You don't need to fill it out multiple times. If the Exchange Club has been accepted as the Adopt a Park for Bedrock Park by this body and then by council, then we hope to see you there as much as possible, but we understand that it can't always be scheduled that way. So
What needs to be completed each time is the liability waiver. So each person that attends that cleanup for that day needs to sign in on the liability waiver so that they're covered should they be injured in the park for whatever reason, they trip and fall or, then they're covered for having been a part of the cleanup for that day.
So how about the levee walks and the Bedrock Parks walks that are taking place every
The levee
Saturday?
walks, so if those are not a part of the Adopt a Park program and they're just out there, then they would submit a claim to our
Those would be
HR department.
completely separate of this and under their
It's under their-
responsibility to
yes.
figure out.
And then on the top where it's park cleanup under expectations, FRRPD is Feather River Recreation Parks District. What is our park department doing to help this effort?
As far as the Bedrock Park in general?
Any of
or
the parks, trash bags, equipment, empty the trash. Are the groups physically funding and providing their own equipment and?
We would help provide trash bags and picker-uppers, and that's also the reasoning behind having those dates. So having an organized date. If a group
can be prepared.
adopts a park and they want to clean it up monthly, say the third Saturday of every month, they want to plan to have a group down at Rotary Park to clean up, then that would be an identifier to our Parks Department to help have bags and trash grabbers ready to go for that group so that they could come pick it up at the courtyard. So those, go ahead, Wade.
Dude, I was gonna let you finish first.
That's okay.
And the point was with the liaison that the Parks Department wasn't overwhelmed with quite a few members of the various organizations coming and wanting the thought was meet with the park commissioner, the liaison out there, myself or my representative. What are the needs of the park? Let's discuss those, number one. And if it's gonna be every 3 months, the needs might be different than if it's every 3 weeks. So if, say, we're meeting quarterly, well, there might be painting involved, there might be power washing, there might be garbage, there might be things like that. So the city would provide all that. If it was every week, 2 weeks, the city would probably more or less provide trash bags, can grabbers. But my thought was we would meet beforehand so the organization knew what was expected, the city knew what was taking place, and we could plan accordingly. Do I need to bring an extra staff member in? Can my Saturday person or Sunday person handle the additional workload?
My understanding as
Are you
well.
guys bringing in 60 volunteers, so I need to bring in equipment, or something to assist, stuff like that. So that was my understanding of the liaison, so that could be discussed prior to any cleanups. And I would have to say the amount of cleanups per month, per quarter would dictate what we would provide.
Right.
Does
so-
that make sense?
Absolutely,
Yep.
and that was my
Absolutely.
understanding when we put this forward.
The city's here to help as much as we can. Just know that, we can help as much as we can. If we didn't need the help, we'd just did it ourselves. And so when this program was thought of, we had 3 people in the Parks Department.
Right.
We have more than 3 people now, so we can help out more. It's not that we don't want the help, we can help out more. We just need to know the needs. And that's where the liaison and the city could get together and discuss this stuff prior to the organization going out and do the day's work.
And I just want to add really quick too, that when we built this, the liaison, the commissioner liaison was put in place to relieve, because we don't particularly have a dedicated person to this in the city staffing. We can answer some questions and we can be the contact person so that City Hall is not getting overwhelmed with questions that could possibly be answered. Correct?
And that's the first thing that volunteers ask me. Well, what's the city doing? Are they going to, why aren't they picking it up? Why aren't they cleaning it up? My answer always is, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. So I do want to have some mechanism in place that we can see, at least at the beginning of these programs, as we get established with them, Wade or a staff member just to be there to help, because we don't know a lot of times. I mean, there's a lot down at Bedrock that I've been talking about, lights and needles, and there's so much that it is overwhelming in my emails to the city council, only because I'm walking down there once a week. I'm down there twice or 3 times a week, and I know the residents there, and it's bad. They're having a lot of problems there. So just to get people involved, it's nice that I can say, city's going to be there. You'll see someone there. So that's all. And I'd also like to do a little caveat that the park is subject to random inspection by staff. I don't want any responsibility for that. And also hosting an annual park event in your park, we've tried. And we haven't had the restroom facilities. We haven't had the facilities. It was not a place where we could have an event.
We're hoping we can move towards that.
Yes.
Yes, I know that's the goal of.
Because that's going to be the first thing they say is, they charged us $108.50 for when we did all the trash pickup and the cleanup and the lawn maintenance to put our tables out there.
For the event fee?
Yes.
How it is?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Castro, were you on the Parks Commission when former Commissioner Riggs and I brought this Adopt a Park forward?
No. I think I joined right after that.
Okay. I was just, the reason that this was brought forward, just for awareness purposes, is because, as Wade said, there was only 3 staff members at the time for parks, and even less in taking out of other departments to work in the parks at that time. But we had at that time also a handful of organizations that suggested this and brought it forward, that they wanted to do this for multiple reasons. One is so that they could do something for their city. Maybe they had some for their organization. They had some community service hours they needed to log, whatever the case may have been. So when this was brought forward, it wasn't necessarily because the city wasn't doing anything. It was because of multiple reasons, like I just stated.
I think it's a great idea, and people really want to do it. And
Oh,
I think seeing
absolutely.
this kind of formality behind it and the support is actually going to be really a benefit to the people who
Absolutely.
want to help.
Commissioner Krantz?
Does the liability change, or do things become more restrictive if the entity happens to be a school?
We haven't
Don't know.
ventured into that territory with our city attorney. I'm not sure that it would. I think
Okay.
that the school's liability would also
Just like a field
overlap over
trip?
the city's liability.
When I spoke to the principal at St. Thomas, hoping that they could adopt Sank Park, that never came up, but then I also hadn't seen all of this. So I just would want to make sure that that isn't a hindrance to them, that it becomes so complicated with paperwork that,
I think more so the issue there is the minors being volunteers. So that's just one conversation I will request clarification on from
Okay,
our city
great.
attorney.
okay,
Maybe
great.
just the limit of what they can do as minors
Yeah,
at the
Typically,
park.
it's the limit ladders, power equipment.
Right.
You know, things like that. Keep them in pairs or sets of threes so they're together. They could still do the painting, I'm sure, and the trash pickup, the raking, leaf removal. Just the programs we've ran in the past that have dealt with minors as power equipment and ladders. Those the two main ones.
okay, good.
But that would have to be approved by the city attorney, of course.
Okay, to move forward, if nobody has anything else, Commissioner Krantz, do you have?
No, that was
Okay.
it.
If nobody has anything else, Commissioner Krantz, is there a park on this list that you would like to be a liaison for?
It's one that hopefully could be added to the list, Sank Park. And I have had contact with the principal at St. Thomas, and she's very interested in that becoming their park as well, to adopt.
Nice. Commissioner Castro?
I'm not speaking right now.
Why?
I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Is
Thank
there
you.
a park that you wish to be a
Oh,
liaison
I'm
for?
already. I've been at Bedrock Park for a year now, since February of 2020.
But we need to make it official.
I filled out all the paperwork. I
So-
want Bedrock
It doesn't
Park.
have to be anything official.
Okay.
I already
Yeah.
did it.
Really, again, this
Yes.
was
I'm
more
sorry.
discussion. We're going to not resurrect, we're going to really market this program along with the teen docent program in January with hopes that we'll have more groups come on and sign on to this program once the parks and the museums reopen in March. And so really hit the ground running there.
And although it is a museum, the Nature Center has incredible opportunities for volunteers who want to learn about plants, or kids in schools that want to learn about plants and planting. I know it's a museum, but eventually I'd like to see that as one of our first museums, because it really does have a grounds that people could participate in.
Right. And that's where we want to do that teen docent program too, to where that we can
Museums as well.
begin to incorporate more of the high schoolers and middle schoolers.
So for the Adopt a Park program, I would like to, until we get further commissioners, I would volunteer to be liaison for Rotary in Hammond. And does any other commissioners wish to be liaison for Hewitt and Centennial Plaza?
I'll take Centennial because it's on our walk. We're already walking right by there. Unless you want it, Andy. You could.
Oh, my apologies. I meant Rotary and Hewitt. Is there anyone who wishes to be liaison for Hammond Park?
Where is that?
That is going to be in Thermalito, behind Home
Depot area?
Yes, that's ours.
Could I recommend that we might present that to our commissioner who isn't here today? Because I know that's his proximity to home and I believe work, he's told me.
I don't believe we have a
Oh,
fifth commissioner.
oh.
The only other commissioner we have that's absent tonight is Commissioner Khan.
And she took a leave of
Oh,
absence.
then, okay. Then we lost one and I wasn't aware. Okay, that's too bad because that would have been ideal proximity.
I think this is a good start. We didn't have to assign, per se assign, we're not assigning them to any of you, but
But that is
We
what
don't-
we asked for.
yes, but we didn't, yes, we don't need to assign or pick every single one this evening. And we do hopefully have a few more commissioners starting, we hope. So yeah, we can revisit this with them as well and just kind of introduce this program to them and let them know what's available.
Very good. All right, with nothing else there, I think that there's no votes that need taken on this item,
Nope,
correct?
we made some notes. We will add St. Park and bring that back for approval and ask a few questions about school classes and some of the liability issues with our attorney. And I think that's good with this one.
Thank you.
All right, with that, anything, Commissioner Krantz? Sorry.
Oh, I did have just to hopefully further get St. Thomas linked with St. Park, because I did also speak with the principal about the teen docent program and thinking that that could also be like a perfect marriage at
Yeah.
the lot home.
Absolutely.
Great idea.
Good.
So that's kind of a good segue into our backlog report. Because the second item on there is the teen docent program. So the first one, if the chair is okay with us moving forward to the next item.
Yes.
Okay. So the first item on there was the Adopt a Park program, which we've discussed thoroughly this evening. The next one is the teen docent program, which has been approved by this body and the city council. I think I had mentioned that we reached out to schools that were in favor, are still in favor, but we had reached out to them such a long time ago. That is when they had volunteer hours that were required of students for graduation, which is no longer required of them. That does not mean they're not supportive of this program. They're very encouraging of it, and said they will promote it and encourage it with their students. And same with this program, we really want to push it out hard, like Dawn said, in January, because we do have our museums and parks reopening in March. So that's something that we will try to get a lot of press on and get a lot of information out on, just to get it going. Because this is another program that was approved and then kind of lulled because of COVID and everything. We've just had so many great ideas that haven't gone to fruition because of some speed bumps. So that's what's moving forward with the teen docent program. Vandalism Report is done by Wade Atterbury, and it is a fiscal yearly report. So we will have that for you in June or July for our meeting. Yes,
Too.
I don't. Please ask.
I think that annually is not quite enough. Can we have that report at every other meeting or some sort of update about it, what's going on in the parks with cameras and lighting and deterrence and patrols and,
We can have Mr.
That's a
Atterbury
question for
provide an
Wade.
update as to activity that's gone on. This is more the monetary, what we spend on vandalism annually for each park. So that's what this report
just
is.
financially. Okay, I'm okay with that, unless,
We had this discussion at the,
sorry.
no, don't be sorry. We had this discussion at the last Parks Commission meeting that we held. And my understanding was that Wade will still provide his updates that he has always provided us with. We just won't know monetary-wise what it's cost the city for these until the reports come out.
It gives us a full picture at the end of that fiscal year.
I'll make a better note of that on this form as well.
If you want, I can provide, because this is something I'm putting in my monthly reports to the city council, but I can be more than happy to provide it to you as well, as far as, it's pretty easy for me to track crew hours. You know, us dealing with vandalism and graffiti.
Right.
So I can provide those every park commission. It's just getting the information from the finance as far as, the monetary, what we're actually spending on supplies and replacement items. That would be more biannually or annually. But just the amount of crew hours we're spending if that would be beneficial, I could definitely provide those.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we had discussed, was just that your
I couldn't
crew
remember,
hours.
but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making some notes.
No worries.
And final item we have on just website updates, which are constantly going. And if anything is brought to our attention, we try to get to it, especially with any of our parks. Right now, there's not much to update besides we have park and museum closures that have been updated on our website. They were closed any kind of end of November and plan to reopen March. So that's the only updates that really pertain to this body. But if you guys ever see anything, that's absolutely something that please bring to our attention for any website updates. And then, as always, if there's anything you would like added to this list of ongoing updates that we can touch base on at each meeting.
Commissioner Castro?
Portland Lou update, please.
The Portland loos have been received. They were delivered to the corporation yard week before last.
Thank you.
And so the engineering is being finalized for that, for the sewer and electrical, and so they will be installed. I don't have a date yet, but they'll be installed in spring.
I've never
And
seen
that was
somebody
it.
so happy about
I
a
am.
potty.
I'm the Portland Lou. I'm the Portland Lou Queen of Oroville. Gonna get one on the light parade next year. So Bedrock,
And
Centennial.
Centennial Plaza. We started with 2. There are guinea
we ordered
pigs.
4.
The
We,
third and fourth were put on hold. So the third one was gonna go at the Veterans Hall, and it
and they
couldn't.
declined it.
And then the fourth one, we were discussing maybe putting it at the parking lot down here at Myers and Robinson, but that was never came to
That's
fruition.
still on our top priority radar, actually.
And the Nature Center is gorgeous with the head of the trails down there and nowhere to go.
The
Full trail.
We've
Well,
discussed
other than the
replacing the
trail.
pit toilet at the nature center. The concern is it would still have to remain a pit toilet without sewer connection because there would have to be a pump station installed. And that's just as costly as the Portland Loo, so it'd be a $200,000 toilet, basically. So we're still looking at options down there. At this point, we're just gonna keep the pit toilet pumped. That's a lot of P's.
So does that mean there's a truck that goes down there and pumps it out?
That's correct.
Okay.
We might have some interest in a composting down there, which just goes with the nature part of it. Okay, we'll keep talking.
Okay.
It's important. It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
Lots of people, lots of traffic, people walking, starting at the trail, ending there, visiting the Veterans Hall. Really needs to be a bathroom down there or something.
I'm not
You know
opposed to
that.
a composting toilet, but we'll have to look into that as far as commercial use.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Commissioner Krantz?
Thank you.
Have we decided when we're going to resume conversation about the fencing around the parks? It seemed like we kind of left off with, we could bring that conversation back in terms of design
So we have,
at some point.
I believe that was a grant we were applying for, which we have applied for. The closing date has come and gone, and we've applied for it. I'm not sure, do you know the date of the?
The date of the closing was December 31st and 30th, so we should be hearing back after the first of the year whether we receive that allocation or not.
Yes.
Good.
So we don't have any updates on that yet.
Okay.
I would love updates here, but again, my concern is that the museums are not under our purview, and I hesitate doing anything that has to do with things that are not under our purview here. So updates would be great.
We might need Mr. Huber to rule on that because it's always been Sank Park and the Lot Home. And they were distinguished in the past according to the
Right.
granting.
Sank
of
Park
when
is a
they-
park.
It is a park.
Sink Park
It's
is
a park
It's a rentable park.
under our
under our purview.
purview.
I think so, yes.
Well, we can
Just the
check.
building is a museum that's not.
Building is a museum,
Okay,
so.
very good. Thank you.
So I will,
Confused.
I'll look into getting an update on that. It was a per capita grant that I will look up for you.
My thing is, I just don't want us spinning our wheels and,
Right.
and,
I agree.
just like the municipal auditorium situation. I just don't want to waste a whole lot of time on it and get our hopes dedicated towards certain things, and it's not even our
Right.
piece
I'll
of the
confirm
pie.
with the city attorney then.
The people in the town think it's part of the parks, so.
Right.
We need to clearly articulate to them if it's not. And then there are other organizations that are. The Historic Advisory Committee is actually part of the Planning Commission. So there's plenty of places for us to go if it's not Park Commission.
Very good.
We just need to know where to
Right.
direct the people.
And we've been in conversations with the Historic Advisory Committee regarding the fence as well. And can we just back up for a second regarding that fence? It's not that we want the fence around St. Park. It's just the option we're facing because it is nightly vandalism and destruction at that park. And because it holds a historic home on it, it's not just playground equipment. It's a beautiful historic home that was deeded to the city. That's one of our solutions for trying to maintain that home in longevity so that it still can be enjoyed into the future. And that's really where the solution for prevention of vandalism came from.
I'm going to say my personal opinion here, and that is I do want a fence around that park and that museum, that home, that property, so that it can be locked up, so that we don't have vandals and people that want to hurt, harm, and destroy our beauties in this town. And if that requires a fence, then we need to put a fence, in my opinion. I just hope that it is aesthetically appeasing.
I would not put an ugly fence around it.
Have you met Dawn?
Did you have something?
No, I,
I seen you reaching for your button.
you read my mind.
Okay. That's just, again, my opinion.
And some other options. Cameras, lighting, loitering detectors, motion detectors, other deterrents, private security walking through all our parks at night on an hourly basis. People just want to be heard, that it's not just the solution is a fence.
Right.
People want to hear and participate in some, seeing some other things as well. I went over there and closed them Halloween night, wide open, all of them. I went over and closed all the gates and locked them. So it's not going to do us any good at all to have a fence if nobody goes over and closes it at night. So that's also something that I know we're short-staffed on. So there are some ways that we can look at some other solutions as well. Thank you.
I just agree with anything that will keep our stuff secured and without the vandalism. And without our docents having to put up with the stuff that they have to. On this backlog, I'm not sure if this would be an item for it, or if you guys maybe have some sort of update for it. The property for the kayak kiosk area?
It's still in escrow because there was, the state agency is fleeting my memory at the moment. There's a state agency that we have to seek approval from, just written approval for the transfer of that property back to the city. So,
Because it's entity to entity?
yeah.
Okay.
And because it's near the waterway, there's something else tied to that. I apologize for not having that detail. But yes, it's still in escrow.
Gifted publicly funded properties or something, maybe? Anyway, it's
I
still
will
in the
email-
works?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any kind of rough guesstimate on a light at the end of the tunnel that we might know something? I had somebody ask recently.
I would hope in the next month or two that we'll have escrow closed. That's
Okay.
my desire.
Very good. Anybody have anything else on this item? All right, moving on to reports and discussions. Item number 5, curator position.
So we received 7 applications for the curator position.
Wow.
And we are scheduled to have 4 interviews actually tomorrow. So we are in the process of interviewing for this. And if we find the correct fit for that, we are hoping for a possible end of February, mid-March start date, which would be fantastic. So we are moving forward with this item, which is really exciting.
You said mid-March, hopefully?
Hopefully, yes.
Just depends on the duration of the background process.
And if we find the right match.
So there's 7 applications, 4 being interviewed tomorrow, and then the rest interviewed at a later date?
4 accepted interviews.
Or accepted interviews.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
And I know you can't get into details, but are they local individuals? Are they individuals from the college that was reached out to?
Almost all of them were local as far as Northern California. I believe 4 or 5 of them were local as far as Butte County.
Good.
Nice. Anybody have anything else for this item? I'm excited because we were told it wouldn't happen.
Very exciting.
There would be no interest. Item number 6, docent report.
So I did not normally receive this from our lead docent. We did not receive a report, possibly due to the museums all being now closed. So they are currently closed until March. So I don't have a docent report for you, but all is
I think
well.
we both have a few things for this. Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, well, I had a
If
little.
Jordan's done, I'm sorry.
I had a little
Here,
docent
Jordan.
report. Several people I know did apply and went out to the sheriff and got live scanned, and Jan Clay's been in contact with them. So even though they're closed, they've opened a lot of they said, well, come on down to the museum and we'll show you around and give you tours and get you involved now.
fantastic.
So I wanted to thank you for following up on those applications. And even though they're closed, get them in now while they're still interested.
Yeah, absolutely. We're
All right,
still
thank you.
accepting applications all through the closures. Something that you can do online and bring down here to City Hall.
Thank you.
You have to bring it through City Hall to go through the live scan. So they do come through our office. So yeah, we have seen some interest. I don't have a number for you in the last month or so, but I can start doing that if you'd like to know how many we've had in the last month or anything.
I'd kind of be interested in kind of how many applications and stuff we get, how much interest there is.
Sure. Yeah, we can add that to the log report, docent applications.
So I just want to look, guys, I'm trying to be very careful how I word things, okay? Because I don't want to come off as being negative. There was quite the controversy over this Christmas party for our docents. And there are some docents that are feeling underappreciated, in a sense. And many of them not knowing, number one, why, or even told that the docents are the ones that canceled the Christmas party.
Are we talking about the mistletoe party? Mm-hmm. So yes,
So
this was
that was not the city that canceled that?
this was canceled by the lead docents.
Okay.
We were informed by them.
Okay.
All I know is that all of the texts and the emails that I received from the docents themselves, and I asked that specifically, did the docents cancel this or did the city? And across the board, it was the city canceled it because of COVID. So there's an obvious disconnect. I don't think it's one answer or the other.
I
to
don't
be honest
either.
with
I
you.
think
I don't think
possibly-
it's the city or the docents. I just think it happened, and somehow there was some miscommunication.
We have
Wade?
received correspondence from one of the lead docents. It was on a weekend, if I remember correctly. And so we talked with Mr. Atterbury and Ms. Daly and myself and put out the request for the cancellation. I contacted that docent Monday morning and I asked why, and they said that it was their concerns over COVID. And that has been their concern in the past because of the age of the docent population. And so they chose to cancel it because there was We contacted them and confirmed that they wanted to continue on with, prior to this, with the mistletoe party, because we were getting ready to put out all the publications and everything to help promote it. And then we received the correspondence regarding the cancellation of it. So then we proceeded from there. I called, I confirmed, and we canceled it from there.
I want, for myself personally, and I'm sure I echo other commissioners, but I want to be very, very clear that in no way is this any kind of finger pointing or accusing that the city did or anybody else did. So please don't take it that way.
Well, and this is a docent promoted event.
Right.
And this is something
This
that
is
the
a
city
city
happily
event.
supports them annually. Wade's crew does a lot to support this event annually.
Absolutely.
And we were prepping for it, and it came as a surprise to us as well that they wanted to cancel. But I understand and respect their wishes as far as their concerns over COVID.
Right. So the reason I brought it up is because a couple of the docents did express their heartbreak, I'm going to call it. Because the docents that we've had for a while, they look forward to this party. So I think personally it was likely a strong miscommunication between themselves and what was actually happening compared to what was said was happening. I don't know exactly how it came to fruition. All I know is that a lot were very disheartened to learn that. So I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't anything that we could have done different or anything the city did that could have been different. That way I feel a little better knowing that it wasn't our fault.
I think the communication between the docents have changed too, with changing hands of lead docents. So I'm not at all saying that it's in their, I do, just positive note, with the curator starting, that we can help that communication with the city, with the docents, getting out all information to the docents, because right now it weighs heavily on a lead docent. So if information doesn't get out to every single one, then they may feel like they are, not being included or something like that. So which I'm hoping it's just miscommunication.
Absolutely. Commissioner Krantz?
So I guess my question would be, now knowing the reason that it was canceled, is in the future, could this be treated as something that people in the community choose either to attend and participate, or they choose not to, such as our festivities that have been happening downtown in preparation for holidays and the parade? If it's something that for any reason a group or a part of a group wouldn't be comfortable with, then of course they shouldn't participate. But if there are a number of people from the community or even some docents who feel like they're comfortable with that, could that be more of a choice?
This is a docent,
They're the organizers
promoted.
and event.
Yeah, this is a docent
Organized event.
organized event. So they organize it, they staff it, they work the whole thing. We
Right.
only really help with Wade's crew provides a lot of services that they are needed, and we promote for them. So if the organization putting it on is the ones that are fearful of COVID or uncomfortable with the organization, we don't, as a city, didn't have a staff or the time to reach out to another organization to put it on. I mean, we received notice, like we said, on a weekend, and we
Right.
got the clarification, and I believe we got out the cancellation Monday or Tuesday right before the party. So it was
Right.
short notice on us as well.
Right, okay.
I think a good example of that was when the docents and the Friends of the Park were no longer able to run the kitchen during the Feather Fiesta days. So they gave that kitchen to a service club. They still held the event. The service club, though, helped out and took a portion of the proceeds. And I think what you're asking is along the same lines, but that'd have to be discussed at a docent meeting with the docents and the lead docent because of their age and things. They're just,
Right,
they're
absolutely.
not able to do the same things they once were, but they want to see, a lot of them want to see the program still go on.
Right.
There's a lot of prep and work that goes along, so if a service club did step in, but that would have to be discussed at a docent meeting and set up that way. But Feather Fiesta Days a few years ago, that's when the docents and Friends of the Parks came to the conclusion they just didn't have the staff.
Okay.
And what the docents did for that service club is they worked alongside them for that first year that service club stepped in to ensure their success, to guide them through it, to help them along with that event. And then the next year, they let them take over that event. So it was a bigger process. That's something, if the docents are interested in, may want to consider for the mistletoe party going forward, but they will probably want to work with that group to get them through that first year to guide them to success in that event.
So my understanding is, after all this docent conversation, is that the docents aren't actually under our purview.
No, but it's still a healthy discussion to have.
It is.
And I think it has morphed into this because you've had the lead docent on this committee for so long, is why we have a docent report.
Gotcha.
And why we
Right.
talk about it in such
Okay.
lengths.
Is it Jan Clay now or Ann Chamberlain? Who is the lead docent now?
For the lot home,
No, the program, the lead docent. Who's the lead docent?
It's
He keeps talking
neither.
about
It's,
a lead docent. Frida?
I don't think it's Frida.
No, what,
No.
do you remember her name?
So there's a lead docent for each museum.
They've, for each museum, yes, and then there is a board of docents
Michelle
that
needs to
oversee.
Okay, okay, I'll find her. Okay.
Okay, so now the hard questions. Are both of your questions answered or your comments?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know how to get off the floor.
You just push,
Remove.
yeah, remove from queue. How do we, and would it serve to, because I'm just, as a park commissioner, I'm kind of really trying to stick to exactly what is under our purview, what's not, so we have a firm understanding. How can we get the docents under the park purview, park commission purview, and would it serve a positive purpose to do so?
My understanding is that as far as what the charter states, that's what falls under the park commission purview. So we didn't have museums when the charter was brought to be and voted on. And so the museums kind of morphed and fell under the purview of the park commission because that parks department was more robust at that time. And so I think it's something that, since the council has already been discussing charter amendments, you had talked about forming or just having a meeting to discuss items that you would like to see put back under the purview of the park commission. So at the February meeting, if you would like to have that as an agenda item, we can have that discussion at that time.
When is council doing that review?
They haven't scheduled a meeting for it yet.
That was going to be my next question, is how do we affirmatively get the museums back or get them under the park's purview, park commission purview,
That would be the start.
technicalities wise? And that's to go through council. And then my second question to that is, how do we, as park commission, get something in front of city council? So if there's something that we want to present to or talk about, or I think I've asked this at a previous meeting, but I could not find the minutes on it. How do we as a park commission get something in front of the council?
Request it either an item here that you recommend to council to be reviewed and approved, or speak to council members and they ask to have an item to be placed on the city council agenda. It would take the mayor or 2 council members.
Okay. 3 council members.
The mayor
right?
or 2 council members.
The mayor or 2 separate council members? Oh, because 3 can't talk.
Backtrack a little bit. My lead docent contact is Lonnie Frederick.
Frederick. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll add that on 9. Is there anything else for this particular agenda item? Sorry, we got off track.
Well, I had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I'm supportive of that idea because I think, just for me personally, even after I had attended a docent meeting that had been discussed in this type of a regular meeting over summer, attended, took meticulous notes on their wants and needs, reported to this staff via email and verbally, and then when Mr. Huber came to give his presentation, to discover that has nothing to do with this commission, that was a real surprise. And I think that I have even seen in print in the past Parks and Museum Commission, unless I'm mistaken, or heard the terms put together. I was always under the impression that it was parks and museums. I think it's logical, especially considering one of our arguably most historic, most important to the city's history museums is in the middle of a park. And even now knowing that that was not necessarily in our purview, how much time have we spent during this meeting talking about museums? So it keeps coming up. It seems like it's a really blurry overlap area for us that we can't even keep totally straight during these meetings.
I don't think staff disagrees with you at all.
And I mean, I'm
think we're
not
just
saying that
trying
in
to
like an
follow.
angry way or
I think
anything.
we're just
It's
trying
just,
to
it's
follow,
frustrating
yeah.
because it's like, we're always talking about the museums during these
And
meetings.
I think it's just we are accustomed to it. That's how it's been. So when we had Mr. Huber come in, we were kind of all reminded. But I'm pretty sure everyone, all the staff in this room is in favor of that. It's just something that would need to go through the correct hoops per se. We need to jump through, and to start that process would be, as Ms. Never said, to get that charter amendment as something that's presented to the council.
And would you, as staff, given what we have had to say and that you don't disagree, would you consider that being, that they would be receptive to this? Or is this going to be another thing where we put a lot of time and effort thinking this just makes sense to everybody? Where would you anticipate going with that?
I believe they would be receptive. I think it's just the fact of formality of it,
Okay, good.
going through
We
the
had-
process.
We had the same issues with the municipal auditorium. We spent a lot of time and energy and effort and brainstorming ideas and stuff for the municipal as well until I learned that that was not under our purview. So just as that topic, it's very frustrating, and it's just what has been adopted in the past and carried on. So it's nobody's fault. It's
Right.
just not, it hasn't been made so.
Well, and I wouldn't get frustrated by it. All, like I said, all those conversations are healthy conversations to have because there's so many components of the city that overlap each other. So the lines do get blurred and a little gray at times. But don't get frustrated. Good conversations. It's just, again, that formality, getting it, back into play.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the man in charge, because it's Mr. Wade Atterbury over there in the park department where the museums are right now. What do you think about this idea?
In all honesty, I just want some clear-cut direction. If we're gonna spend our time on it, let's spend our time on it. If it's not under our purview, your purview, we need to get off this topic. And so, clear-cut direction is always my best policy. That way, if I need to answer for something, I'll answer for it.
Right.
But, if you guys are up here making comments and suggestions, that's great. Or is it underneath your purview where you guys are, making requests, not suggestions? So I'm all for clear-cut direction. I think it'll help out everybody.
All right. Thank you. Absolutely. If there's nothing else for this item,
Can we move to a happier item?
item number 7.
I think I know.
Has this been press released?
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Press release is going out in the morning.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
So-
not Monday.
What?
I said tomorrow's not Monday.
Oh, I know.
Did I say
I
Monday?
apologize.
Oh.
She did.
Oh. It's the holidays. We're all over the
We've
place.
kept Jordan very busy.
That's okay.
So, on a very happy note, we received notice last week, see they're all blurring together, that Hewitt Park Phase 2 has been funded through the statewide Park Development and Community Revitalization Grant Program, which is such a mouthful, but we are so excited that we were chosen for this project. It was funded at around $4.5 million to continue with phase 2 of this project. And you can see that we have on the screen right now the master plan. And this was done, we worked really hard with Melton Design for this and all the community outreach and meetings that we held. This is what the master plan came to and what was approved by the state. We also applied for the Bedrock grant trail as well, which we did receive notice that we did not get funded for. We do have a meeting set up of a few key points that we could do better for the next time we apply for it, which we plan on doing. But we see this project, there's still a few more things we need to do with this project. I believe it's scheduled to be finished by 2024 is what is in our application process. And we're just really excited. So we hope you guys are excited too. Staff worked really hard, like I said, on this and with the community, and we're just ecstatic to see something positive in that area being done.
These grants are extremely competitive, and so this was a big win.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, this park is actually in our purview.
Yes, that's something
So-
we can talk about.
I will say that although we did have an opinion in it, but although we didn't have a say in this, I know myself, and I'm pretty sure Commissioner Castro as well, and possibly Commissioner Krantz, I know I myself put a lot of work and effort into community outreach for this program, so I'm extremely ecstatic to see this, or into this project rather. So is this will come to fruition for
Yes.
sure, positively. This is what it's gonna look like.
Yep.
You're currently holding the master plan that was approved by the state. So yes,
Okay.
that is what is happening at
Not
Hewitt
a
Park.
possibility, we could have this here, we could have maybe
No.
a pickle
This
ball
is the
court.
plan.
No, this is the master plan that was approved. So that is what is
Gee.
happening. I don't have like a break ground date or anything like that. We still have, technicalities of signing everything and everything like that, and still having some like workshops of getting all of our, we have to have a grant manager and a project manager and everything like that. We plan on continuing to work with Melton Design with this project. They were fantastic to work with, and we are really looking forward to working with them again as our manager on this. But yes, this is what is approved. This is what you will see at Hewitt Park.
No wonder you wanted Hewitt Park, Bobby. I want to switch with you now.
That wasn't the purpose why.
I'm kidding.
We will be returning.
Businesses are very excited about this park development as well. I've talked to a lot of businesses there. They're very, very happy it's going to be used and lit and used for a purpose it should be intended. So they're very, very excited about that too.
Has a lot of potential in that area, so I'm very glad that we're gonna be utilizing it positively.
Absolutely, we just had a daycare pop up next door to it, and a little work training facility and stuff, so this is amazing. And I just want to put on the record, in case Miss Riggs is watching, that we will get our dog park.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes.
How many years has that been?
Quite a few,
Yeah.
since I got on the park
Councilmember Riggs
commission.
was very involved in the process, and she was a big push for the dog park, so we're excited for that.
And I will also remind you that the pickleball folks had agreed to adopt a portion of this park. And Beth is on. So,
Oh, great.
a portion, not the whole park, but a portion.
Well, when I got the news the other night, I kind of did a sneak peek of my excitement, and so we were all waiting for the release to come out, and so Beth and I sat at the computer for, well, not just sitting there, but throughout the day checking to
Oh, I'm so
see
sorry.
a release come out. So because she left all of the pickleball folks in anticipation,
Oh, I'm
because she
so
didn't want to
sorry.
say
We will
anything
get that
until
out
it officially
tomorrow.
came out.
Guys, yeah.
It was a little hush hush for a while because we had known and the state
Right.
was announcing it on their own press release. But it is announced now, and we, council is aware, you guys are aware, so we will get a citywide press release out tomorrow.
The
Thank
state
you.
swore us to secrecy.
Yes.
We couldn't say anything.
Which was
and that
really hard.
Very difficult.
Nice.
And is this like other parks that if you officially want to rent the picnic shelter, you have your permit and everything?
Yes, this
like
will
we do
be
for the other
rentable
parks?
space as well.
That's what we specifically requested, so that, we could have more shared spaces throughout the
Yeah,
city
I
and our
think it's,
parks.
I don't
How
have it
many
in front of me
rentable spaces in this park?
currently.
No, one with this master plan.
I think there
Yes.
was
How
3
many?
pergolas.
I believe there's, I don't have it in front of me. I think in the key, there's, I believe at least, I think there's 3, yes, at least 3.
Shade structures?
Shade structure,
Is that what they are? Possibly.
picnic area, shelter.
Oh, it's the blues. Okay, 10 by 12 shade structures, the blue octagons.
It's exciting.
Yes, so there's, I can't remember the top of my head, but yes, there's absolutely rentable space
Awesome.
drawn into this,
Yay.
as well as the pickleball courts that has already shown huge interest in renting those out for,
Tournaments.
tournaments and everything like that.
I do not see, however, oh, wait a minute. What is this? Are they putting up like a wrought iron fence around the train locomotive?
With interpretive panels.
Yes, I believe so.
To discuss the history of the locomotives.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, I believe there's fencing around
fencing
the locomotive and the pickleball courts and the dog park.
This blue is all fencing?
Well, the black line where it says fencing.
There is
fence,
fencing around the
blue
perimeter
line.
of the park as well.
Oh, and the whole perimeter.
Is all fencing?
It says fence.
Nice.
The blue kind of dotted line.
Very good.
Just because I'm the Portland Lou girl, is the existing restrooms, is that enough for this large scale here?
That's what we had, yes,
Yes.
decided it was enough.
It was in, yeah.
With the existing restroom,
I know.
what is the status on that existing restroom? Do you know? Like, is it functioning? I thought there was like something wrong with it.
The existing, we have brought it up to, it is functional.
Okay.
There is we'd have to do a little bit of work to it, but all the, there might be a sink or two to replace, but there is a sink in each side and there is functioning facilities on
I'm
both
sure
sides. But
it may get some facelift with
there'd be
this.
some cosmetic work that needs to be done and things like that, but
Absolutely.
the plumbing and everything's still solid.
Awesome. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Commissioner Krantz?
So I just had a question because I was not yet on this commission when these plans were put into effect. Does the fence for this park come within this budget?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
That does not affect the other fences? for
No, it
No,
does
these
not.
are
Great.
two completely separate grants that
Great.
we've applied for.
Okay.
Everything you see in this picture and listed on the queue and color coded, it will all be included.
Okay, great.
You weren't here when we discussed this?
The plans had already started. My very first meeting was when the gentleman showed the graphics and the design.
I think
The first
that was
community
first-
meeting.
Yeah, that was all
Was
of our
that the first?
first.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
It wasn't a Parks Commission purview item.
Okay.
You were encouraged to attend the workshops as a park commissioner.
Yes, okay.
Because the whole phasing of this park, phase 1 and phase 2 had already been previously approved in like 2003.
Right.
So this was just submitting the application.
Okay.
Purviews.
So that's why we brought back the consultant who had done phase 1. It was under a different company name at the time, but same consultant. So we just brought back their design. They amended it to today's standards and uses, considering our changing environment, and put that forward.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very awesome.
I'm gonna love it.
Very, very awesome.
Is there anything else for this item? Oh, I guess administration reports is what we're on. Do you have anything else, Miss Jordan?
That was it. I was just so excited to show you guys that.
We're excited too. This is gonna be, and a 2024
It'll be here in us.
deadline? What
That is
was-
our hope. Yes.
We'll get you a final update on that deadline, yeah. But
Yeah.
it should
We'll
be
keep you
2024.
updated.
Awesome. Dawn, do you have anything?
Nope, that was our big news.
Wade?
Happy to report, we have retained the last several employees we've hired, so they're approaching their 6 months of employment at the city of Oroville, which is a good thing because we're getting trained. I don't anticipate anybody leaving anytime soon. We are having a new employee start in the Parks Department on the 27th, and we still have a couple openings that we're recruiting for. So
How many do you have now
I have 15 total.
in the parks?
No, streets, parks, and building maintenance, including myself. So I got one more starting, and then I believe I have one opening in parks and one opening in streets. And the only reason I report streets is because they do so much cross training and cross work with each other. So it's a good thing. Again, not taking much too much time, but we submitted our Tree City USA application, so that should be approved, and we're planning an Arbor Day celebration in March with the Oroville Botanical Gardens. It'll be at the Oroville Convention Center, and we'll put out more press and emails and things to you when we finalize that. So, but
Very
that's-
good. Commissioner Krantz?
Are we on future agenda?
Not yet.
Okay, then no.
Is there anything else for administration reports?
We're good.
Item number 8, commission reports. I don't have much to report other than I've been through the parks and things are looking right now as good as they can, I'd say. Not a whole lot of usage due to the weather, but I thank the Parks Department and the employees of the Parks Department for their hard work out there. Seems like no matter which park I go to throughout the day, I always see them at one park or the other doing some pretty strenuous work. A lot of it is obviously replacing things that have been broken or vandalized or such from the community, but they're doing a wonderful job, so I thank them for their hard work and efforts. And we did discuss at the last Parks Commission meeting possibly having them come in and so we can kind of see our Parks Department folks. If we can do that next meeting would be awesome. We want to tell them thank you. And I'd just like to pass on to everyone here, happy holidays, happy New Year's, and also to our folks with boots on the ground, happy holidays from us. Commissioner Castro?
I absolutely agree with everything that you're saying. I've seen more Parks Department people in streets and trees and on ladders and driving around and cleaning stuff up, and it really is a joy to see them all working. And they were so happy at the city employee Christmas party. Every single person I talk to says, I work for the Park Department. I mean, they are just really happy there. So I'd like to also see them here, and I know since they were included already in the party that the city had, I still would like to see our docents have the return to that annual luncheon,
Oh, yeah, we absolutely will.
because they love it. They keep track of their hours and they get a little, okay, thank you. So I don't know if that's a future agenda item or a commission report. I just would really like to see the docents.
Yes, it's
They're
something
not
that hasn't gone
employees,
away.
I know, but, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Commissioner Krantz, do you have anything for item number 8?
I do. So back to now the question about the museums. How does that affect what our decision had been about the Chinese temple loan for like a traveling exhibit? How does that affect all of
The
that?
council approved that as well. So it's a final approval by the council.
So we made a
Okay.
recommendation
play.
to the council.
Okay. And so then I would like to support an idea that Commissioner Castro had, and I know she presented to City Council, in possibly finding a way that the Wongs could be assisted with some of the expense of those storage cases and display cases.
We
If
had
that
been in
could be put on a
discussion.
future.
I apologize for
That's
interrupting.
okay.
We'd been in discussion with the Wongs about that. We asked because it was their cabinet maker who was going to be building the display cases for those. We asked for an estimate so that we had a hard cost to present to council to see if council would be interested in that. I haven't received that, so I'll follow up with Mr. Wong again regarding that cost.
Okay, good.
He's had his hands, he's been dabbling in a lot of things recently, so he may have forgotten that.
Right.
All right, item number 9, future agenda items. My first thing I want to ask is, have we made Commissioner Castro a name tag? Commissioner Castro has been on the commission and she has never received a name tag
We will have
for
her made.
events.
The
and-
metal name tag? Okay.
You're welcome. I know you
Are you
were.
wearing
That
yours,
doesn't have to be
Chair?
a park commission discussion, you can just call us too, it's okay.
Commissioner Castro needs a name tag. Do you have one?
It's right here.
Okay.
Details.
I have the magnetic one.
Nice. Yeah, that's the one I have. We've already discussed how to get the museums under the park purview. I would like to have a discussion on our next agenda for I'm going to say security and safety, but maybe talk as a commission about making recommendations for or to the council about our ideas for security and safety. But I want it itemized as an agenda item on our next agenda.
So you're wanting a discussion to then put together a list or Okay.
Security and safety specifically as far as,
Parks?
Our parks.
okay, or, because I'm thinking
I can't
public
say
safety
museums.
gets included in that as
Right.
well. We're having staffing issues in public safety, which is
Right.
preventing that.
Right, and
Who
that's the
already
reason I
patrol our
want to have
parks.
this discussion, to possibly make some recommendations that the park commission can recommend whatever we decide to the council to.
Okay. So in that discussion, we can itemize things that the park commission is looking for. And then from there, we would have to get quotes for that and then present that to council. So we'll just need a hard cost to present to council so they have something to actually vote on.
I would like the commission, and my hopes by that point, speaking of which, I do have a question after this. My hopes by that point, we will have more commissioners. But it's to have the conversation so that we can think of ideas to recommend for the safety and security for the parks. Whether that be if we decide, hey, we recommend putting up fences at all the parks. We recommend hiring a nighttime security. We recommend putting up whatever we decide that we recommend to take to council, but I want it to be an actual agenda item.
I think that security, vandalism, security, lighting is going to be something that will be beneficial as far as cameras. Whatever video surveillance we receive from those cameras, our state laws prevent us from, there's no repercussion.
Right. I remember when the
So-
last cameras went up, but I was just using that as an example of
Right.
whatever it may
Right.
be that we decide. So if we can have that item.
So this will be a discussion item with this body that will then come to a consensus of a recommendation for council, is what you're wanting.
Correct.
Yes. And for me, I would love to have that in this forum because it is parks.
It's under our purview.
It's been recommended that I take this group of people to the executive council and get on the get to the council itself. This is a much friendlier way to do it that I think will be much more productive.
Right.
Than and semi-workshop material if we could even invite people and have some discussion because there is a lot of interest.
Right.
So that's February, I guess it'll be here,
So
8th. Thank you.
The next thing for me is there was mention earlier about applicants for Parks Commission. We do have applicants and they are being vetted and moved along.
The executive committee meets
The
Thursday.
executive committee meeting is tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. I have about 20 applicants overall for all of the commissions that are open with seats. I cannot remember off the top of my head exactly how many there were for parks, but there was at least enough to fill the vacancy, if not like 3 or 4 potential applicants.
Okay.
I will know more tomorrow as far as the direction from executive committee. Typically, they will pick one of 3 options. One being they may want to interview some candidates. 2, they may have just a recommendation for council. 3, they may want us to push out for more applications. I foresee probably one of the first 2 options at this point because we already did another push out, and that's why we've received more applications now.
Okay.
So hopefully by February we'll have someone, but I can't guarantee it because it depends on if they want to interview or if they just want to select from the applicants.
So my understanding is the consensus of this commission is to recommend they get somebody to fill the vacancies.
That's definitely their intent as well. They don't like seeing vacant seats any more than you guys do because
Right.
it makes it hard for having meetings, as you guys have seen from trying to have a quorum when there's only 3 of you.
Very much so. Very much so. Okay. The next thing I had was the term was thrown earlier and I can't remember what it was. Anyway, we had the discussion that we had as a park commission for our wants and needs and what am I?
The goal setting.
Goal setting. And I know that at least 2 to 3 meetings, I've been asking to bring that back and see where we're at and get this commission's input on that. So I would formally request to please put that on a future agenda item for the next agenda.
If you can get those people.
I was gonna say, I think we were
Because
holding off because of such a small body.
But-
Yes.
Oh, I was just, I didn't go through that session,
Right,
and neither did Andy.
right.
So whoever the new people are, and it doesn't have to be our regular meeting. So if we miss February, instead of pushing it all the way out till April, we could have a special workshop, similar to what measure you did, to acclimate the new commissioners and go through that again.
That's what we did with the last time we added commissioners is we had a special meeting.
I think we can get goal setting and security and safety in the parks on the next February agenda, though.
I think what Commissioner Castro is saying is.
Right, if we have new commissioners.
If we have new commissioners, yes.
I think what she was meaning though is if we don't have a quorum to make that for some reason, we don't have a quorum to make that.
Right.
We would prefer to have a special meeting rather than wait until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Let's do a workshop instead of a special meeting.
Yes, if there's not an action item, what's called a workshop.
Okay, that's good. That's great. Thank you.
All right, and I think for now, that's it for me. Commissioner Krantz,
Oh, that was.
future agenda items.
Your mic.
Do you have
Ask a question.
your mic?
During.
Your mic.
Oh, sorry. During the interview process for applicants, would any particular applicant's schedule limitations affect our regular meeting times?
Are you asking, would this time of this meeting change?
I
Or what
think
do you-
I'm asking, could an emphasis, and I'm saying this in a nice, respectful way, could there be an emphasis on the ability to attend during these interviews and this vetting process? Especially when we have accommodated meeting at different times?
So we did advertise out that this meeting was a 5:15 meeting. So that is an expectation of the commissioners if they do accept the position. We do realize that on an occasion, life changes after you've been accepted on the commission, but coming onto the commission, it's an expectation that these are the meeting times, this is the schedule for the year.
Okay, good.
And I do know that, as you said, we have made changes to our start times for other commissioners, so if it be necessary, I'm sure down the road we can figure that out.
And the council will be approving the meeting calendar next month also, because that's what they do annually.
Good.
Anything else for future agenda? Commissioner Castro?
Great.
You have nothing for the next agenda?
Parks, Portland Loop.
You have nothing for the next agenda?
Well, you guys got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The next meeting will be February 8th, 2022, hopefully with more commissioners at 5:15 PM. The meeting is adjourned. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all and Happy New Year.